Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I'm Indy, and today we're going to be reviewing Atomfall. Atomfall, a survival action game by Rebellion, reimagines the 1957 Windscale nuclear disaster in northern England, blending science fiction, folk horror, and Cold War themes. I rolled credits on Atomfall well over a week now, and my initial reaction was, well, this wasn't great, but it wasn't a bad game either. I really needed to take some time and just think on it. See, there was a certain part in the game that kind of left a sour taste in my mouth. I don't want to ruin it because I feel like it's an important part of the game. Just know there are scenarios where you can get stuck in the game. Each decision you make can lead you down a path you might not want to be on. I became completely stuck and I couldn't move forward because my decision led me down a path that I just simply wasn't prepared for. And to be honest, not exactly the way that I wanted to go with the story. Luckily, I had manually saved in a spot, so that helped me maneuver my way out of it so I could backtrack and kind of prepare for what I wanted to do. I would highly recommend saving before any big decision in the game.
I spotted him.
Now, what led me to this outcome was my desire to play the game differently than how I would usually play a game. My initial decision was to play sort of a rogue kind of bad guy, someone who would stop at nothing to make sure they were the one to come out on top, no matter who I burned or who I had to kill. It didn't matter. I wanted to be ruthless. The thing is, I learned quickly that the moral compass in Atomfall is pretty vague. I still don't think some of my decisions that I made or some of my actions were really all that bad. See, you wake up in a bunker not knowing what is going on, not knowing who you are, who's bad, who's good, nothing. All you know is what you learn from this Walter White lookalike donning his yellow hazmat suit and clearly having a pretty rough day. He instructs you to get the hell out of there as quickly as possible. And that is, once you leave, that's when you enter the quarantine zone. The quarantine zone clearly struck by disaster, and the town and the surrounding areas are trapped by this almost like supernatural thing, the supernatural phenomenon that's going on. It's weird, and the situation is it's kind of being handled or looked over by a military outfit, or at the very least they're just trying to keep order in the town, or that's what they tell you. So honestly, it was really difficult figuring out who I wanted to trust and who I didn't want to trust. In the end, I made some questionable decisions and even took matters into my own hands when I thought those were out trying to lie to me. And I was not a man to be trifled with in this game, and I enjoyed that about Atomfall. Your decisions and your actions, they could lead you in several different directions at almost any point in the game. You are free to move about, well, for the most part, and follow leads that you want to follow. They call the missions in this game leads, so it's confusing at first, but once you get the hang of it, you should be good. There is no hand holding in Atomfall. You do what you want to do. You move at your own pace. You decide how you ultimately want to escape the zone, because that is, at the end of the day, that's your ultimate goal. Just know there will be more than one way to achieve this goal. Okay, so you're going to run across those out in the zone that want to kill you, or just flat out harm you or just whatever. So arm yourself with melee weapons or guns, and you'll find clubs, knives, even stun batons to beat your enemies into submission. You'll also find handguns, shotguns, rifles, and machine guns, amongst other weapons, such as throwables. My advice is to figure out what best suits you and stick with that, because inventory in this game is very limited. I fought my inventory more than I fought bad guys in this game, to be honest with you. I kind of hated it. You can craft in Atomfall, so why not let me craft a backpack or something? Just anything to create more storage later on in the game. I mean, I seriously got incredibly annoyed when I ran across this like storage system it's like one of these tubes that they have at the banks. It's between you and the teller, and you send your little thing through the tube and it goes to the teller. I mean, these places were usually like off the beaten path, hidden away somewhere, and you just kind of stumbled into them. And I didn't really want to have to like backtrack to this thing anytime I wanted to pull some supplies out. I might have used it a few times, and then I never really bothered with it again. I think there's like one in the interchange, and I'll talk about it in a minute, but it just seemed like such a waste. It just seemed like such a waste of time to me. I ended up just dropping things or using items just to free up space. It's a huge reason why I didn't get into like the throwables and crafting a bunch of stuff outside of like bandages. I mean, the crafting isn't all that great anyways, so I mean, you can craft some explosives and other things like bandages, but I quickly lost interest in that part of the game. Your guns, they have like tiers as well, starting with the obvious rusted, so, and then it kind of goes on from there. But you have a skill tree that requires you to find skill stimulants in order to upgrade your tree. Again, I didn't like that choice either. You can completely miss things because you need to unlock things in this skill tree first, and it's kind of annoying. I didn't like that. You have to find this gun skill perk to be able to upgrade weapons as well. You just solely, if you don't do it, you can't upgrade weapons. So, I mean, and I didn't really focus on that as well. I mean, I made do with the rusty guns that I had just fine. A few shots with my rifle was pretty much all it took for me to take down a bad guy. I mean, ammo is scarce, so you might want to just aim really well with whatever you're shooting at. The combat isn't out of this world, but it's not really bad either. I had fun getting into gunfights way more than I did with melee combat. The stun baton, when I found that was pretty sweet though. I did like the stun baton. Most of the enemies, they don't pose that much of a threat unless you run into like a bunch of them, a group of them that will, then it gets a little difficult. You couple some of those with one of those bard robots, and then things can turn south pretty quickly. Even though the big robots, they look quite intimidating, they're fairly easily to dispose of if you have some cover around. If you don't, if you're just out in the open, then it's not quite as easy to take them down. There are more enemies throughout the world, but I'll let you discover those on your own because that's kind of the fun of the game. You will also experience a few bugs with the NPCs. I had some quite funny ones, some really goofy ones, like laying on their side and floating in between stuff, and yeah, it was something else. I guess perhaps that just adds to the strange happenings in the world, if that's the way you want to look at it. Let's just say that things didn't always work perfectly in this game. And I mean, if the combat really just isn't groundbreaking, so you wouldn't think that the graphics would be groundbreaking either. Though I do personally think Atomfall looks fantastic, and the world is really cool. How they have it separated by small zones as well. How you enter everything, it's not anything new. It's not anything new, but it's cool. The interchange connects this world, these zones together, and once you open it up, you can reach all these areas, making your way through the interchange. The interchange is just a whole nother entity in itself, let me tell you. This isn't a new technique that's, revolutionizing gaming. There's plenty of games out there that do this, but it was pretty cool. I liked it. Now I'm not trying to just like crap all over this, what they did or anything like that. I mean, it's cool, but this game reminds me a lot of. It does remind me a lot of the Fallout 76 and We Happy Few, a couple of games that I do quite enjoy myself. I thoroughly enjoyed the freedom in this one, not only to roam around, but also the freedom and choices that you have. And when I say freedom, I mean it. You don't like someone you're talking to, you can wait until they turn their back on you and you can take them out. Or you can just shoot them in the face, right to their face, It's the choice is pretty much yours. Don't like the deal you're getting from one of the traders, and yes, there are a handful of traders in the world. I didn't really care for them that much either. Well, you can do the same, and take whatever you want from them, or whatever they have on them. Like I said, it's really up to you what you think is right or what you think is wrong. Some of the people, some of the NPCs and stuff, they're just going to straight up lie to you. And you got to figure out who's telling the truth. I don't know. It's crazy trying to figure out who's trying to manipulate you or if you're trying to manipulate. I don't know. It's wild. But what happens like after 5 minutes of dialogue and they still won't give you like what you want, like a straight answer? I mean, do you have what it takes to like not bludgeon them to death in the back room? You know what I'm saying? Do you? Atomfall is full of fun characters, fun combat, crazy gadgets, and what seems like a road of choices that kind of look like your nervous system. Doesn't always work to perfection, there's minor glitches here and there, but it's nothing that's like game breaking. The only real letdown in this game just might be yourself. No, not because your character is bland and has no personality. Instead, it's based off of what you do within the game, the choices you make, the leads you follow, those who you choose to help, and those whom you choose to completely just crap on if you want. I had fun playing the sort of bad guy role, if you want to call it that. However, like the crafting system was a major letdown for me, and the skill tree, it just almost, I don't know, that stuff just seemed quite useless to me. I didn't dive into it enough to just care about. I just didn't care about it. Instead, I sunk my teeth into like being a desperate, law-abiding degenerate. I know that sounds funny, but I mean, maybe I wasn't a degenerate, but I had my moments in the game. Trust me. It wasn't always pretty, and at times it led me into situations that annoyed the hell out of me. But in the end, those were my choices. Those were my choices that, brought me to where I went in this game. And I went down some pretty crazy paths. Thank you so much for watching the review. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. I reviewed Atomfall on the PS5, and Atomfall wasn't quite what I expected it was going to be. I enjoyed it didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I was going to. I know there's going to be a lot of people that do love it, and that's fantastic. That's great. You know, it's not a bad game. It's not a great game, but I did have fun playing it. And so, yeah, again, if you enjoyed the review, please give it a thumbs up. You know, let me know if you've played the game, what you think about the game, what you thought about the game, how you played, you know, what your play style was in the comments and stuff. And, yeah, we can talk about it and see how you, maybe some of the decisions that you made with. And maybe I'll even let you, maybe I'll let you in on a few decisions that I made that were pretty crazy. Anyways, I will see you guys in the next video.